Chapter 1. Can you survive being hit by a dump truck at 80 miles per hour? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Longwa, Northeast Snow Ridge, in a cave. So dark, so warm, where is this? Cang Nian twisted his body, still a little confused. I remember I was looking at my phone while crossing the road, and I was accidentally hit by a dump truck. Can I survive a hard hit by an 80-mile dump truck? Am I a Superman? Cang Nian thought with great doubt, but then, he felt a rolling around him, as if he was spasming, and then the foreign body pressing on his head suddenly disappeared, and the space wrapped around him became much wider, but before he could stretch his body, there was another spasmodic rolling, and a strong sense of squeezing came from all around. He felt like a sausage in a packaging bag, and was squeezed out in a swish. Pa! The next second, he felt that he had landed, and the air around him suddenly became cold, but fortunately it was still acceptable. But then, an irresistible but extremely gentle force came and fiddled with him, which untied the layer of restraints that wrapped around his body as he landed, and the heavy warm breath and the sticky liquid made him suddenly realize that there was a huge creature licking his body. This made him dare not move and shivered in place. At this time, he wanted to open his eyes to observe the situation around him, but found that his eyes seemed to be glued by glue, and no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't open them, and the licking force on his body had not stopped. After licking off the restraints on his body, it cleaned his body again. Ah! Ah! And just as Cang Nian was shivering in place, a baby-like howling sound came to his ears. Wait! The warm and narrow space, squeezed out, licked off the restraints. I didn't die. Instead, I was reborn as an animal. This babyish cry made a flash of light in Cang Nian's mind, connecting all the previous feelings together. Thinking of this, the foreign object that had just pressed on the top of his head and disappeared should be the cub next to him. However, because the cubs of mammals make similar calls, he couldn't tell what kind of animals his brothers and sisters were. Hey! Just as he was wondering, there was a sound of bushes shaking outside the cave. Ah! But the next second, the big tongue that was licking him suddenly stopped, and suddenly let out a soul-stirring roar towards the outside of the cave. This sound made Cang Nian feel like his heart was about to burst, and he could even hear it echoing far away with an echo. Tiger! It's a tiger! This roar made Cang Nian certain that the big guy who had just licked him was definitely a tiger. He had been to the zoo before and heard tiger roars and lion roars. The tiger roars were louder and higher, while the lion roars were deeper, and this big guy was undoubtedly his mother in this reincarnation, a tigress. Although I failed to be reincarnated as a human, I was lucky to be reincarnated as a tiger. It is much better than being reincarnated as a rabbit or a mouse. At least I don't have to worry about being hunted by creatures other than humans. Such a judgment made Cang Nian feel a little relieved. It was already quite lucky to be able to live again, and it was still a tiger at the top of the food chain. What else could he be dissatisfied with? Aoo. At this time, the little tiger cub beside him cried again. Then, Cang Nian felt the big guy in front of him lying down, and the little tiger cub next to him slowly came over, and soon there was a sucking sound. Although he was just born and couldn't open his eyelids were only a thin layer, and he could feel the changes in light. The little tiger cub went to drink milk. The limited 5 senses allowed Cang Nian to restore what had just happened, but due to human psychology, he could not accept drinking tiger milk. But listening to the sound of the sucking, the physiological instinct of hunger came, making him eager to move. Forget it. If I don't drink milk, I will definitely starve to death. I have been reborn as a tiger, why should I be so hypocritical? After just a moment of hesitation, Cang Nian threw away the shame of a human being and crawled towards the location of the sucking sound, but as soon as he crawled, he felt so weak that every step forward was like being filled with lead and extremely laborious. But he had died once, and out of cherishing the hard-won chance to come back, Cang Nian struggled hard and forced himself to crawl to the side of the tigress. At this time, he was already panting, as if there was a fire burning in his lungs. Ding! Crawl 1M, crawling skill proficiency +1. 1 out of 100. At this time, a voice without any emotion sounded in Cang Nian's mind. Fuck! What is that? Wait. Is it the system? This startled Cang Nian, and then he suddenly turned from surprise to joy. Sure enough, rebirth and system are standard. System. Quickly introduce your functions. Then, Cang Nian urged in ecstasy. However, the voice just now did not sound again. System. System. Speak. This made Cang Nian panic, and he shouted in his heart. As expected, the voice just now still did not respond, as if it was just Cang Nian's illusion. Am I thinking about the system crazy and hallucinating? In response, Cang Nian could only mutter in frustration and unwillingness, but he could no longer bear the hunger in his stomach, so he could only put this question aside for the time being, and then he lay on the soft belly of the tigress, and found the pacifier by instinct of smell. Without hesitation, he made up his mind, opened his mouth and held the pacifier, and tried to suck it. Oh my, it smells so good. The tiger milk that he thought would be very fishy, bloomed with incomparable sweetness in his tender mouth. In this regard, he thought that it should be the taste of tigers that is different from that of humans, which makes him feel that tiger milk is particularly sweet now. Then, Cang Nian no longer felt any shame and sucked hard. Unconsciously, he felt his abdomen swelled up, hunger was relieved, and followed by a feeling of full strength. Ding. Drink 100 milliliters of milk. Drinking milk skill proficiency +1. 1 out of 100. Just when Cang Nian was extremely satisfied and even wanted to lazily stroke his swollen abdomen, a voice without any emotion rang again. Not an illusion. Is there really a system? But there is no intelligence and no human-machine interaction. At this time, Cang Nian no longer doubted, but analyzed it in his mind. But, crawling is a skill, but drinking milk can also be considered a skill. Then, the corners of his mouth twitched twice, and he was a little speechless. However, now is not the time to complain about the system. Feeling the power full of his body after eating, Cang Nian crawled again. This time, although it was also equally strenuous, it was a little more stable than before. Ding. Crawl 1m, crawling skill proficiency +1. 2/100. Hearing this expected system prompt sound, Cang Nian couldn't help but smile. Chapter 2. Can drinking milk be considered a skill? You are listening at novelfull.audio. So, my golden finger is this system panel. If you perform the corresponding behavior, it will be reflected in data, and the corresponding improvement will be fed back immediately. After some experiments, Cang Nian nodded his head and felt that he had initially discovered the functions of the system panel. Although it seems like a useless thing like a record board, if you think about it carefully, it's not that simple. I just felt clearly that the second time I crawled 1 meter, although it was still very difficult, it was more stable. Therefore, as long as you complete a stage of task, you can get a corresponding improvement. Doesn't that mean that as long as you continue to complete tasks, you can steadily strengthen yourself? Now I have only crawled 2 meters in total, and my crawling has become much more stable. So when I complete crawling 100 meters, will there be a qualitative change in the nodes of the system panel? Similarly, since crawling and drinking milk can be regarded as skills, what about waving claws? What about pounce? There is a high probability that it can also be judged as a skill. In this case, as long as you continue to complete the skills you want to enhance, the corresponding skills can be steadily improved. If there is no upper limit, as long as you are brave enough, you will definitely be able to grow up quickly. Although tigers are the top creatures of the food chain, even adult Siberian tigers are not without opponents. The ultimate individual of a big guy like a brown bear can be much larger than a Siberian tiger. Although it lacks flexibility, it is undoubtedly a powerful enemy that can threaten tigers. In addition, he is still just a cub, and the tiger mother must go out hunting to replenish nutrition after giving birth, otherwise the two brothers will have no milk to eat. Although a tiger mother, as an adult tiger, must be the dominant one in the surrounding area, the smell she leaves behind will make most creatures avoid it instinctively. But what if? What if some bold guy comes to eat me while the tiger mother is out hunting? This is not an unfounded worry, but something that definitely needs to be considered. After all, if you remembered correctly, the survival rate for tiger cubs to successfully grow up was about 30% to 50%. For Siberian tigers, it was the lowest among them, only 30%. Many of these were caused by other creatures taking advantage of the mother tiger to hunt and eating the tiger cubs. Therefore, in order to survive, Cang Nian decided to make good use of the golden finger and become stronger as soon as possible, so as not to become one of those cold numbers other than the survival rate. Moreover, looking back now, the tiger cub that was just born earlier than me had a much shorter time to crawl to the tiger mother to nurse than me. While feeding, Cang Nian also encountered a tiger cub next to him, and could clearly feel that the other's frame was much larger than his own. No wonder I am so weak. It turns out that the guy next door sucked all my nutrients away. Thinking of this, he couldn't help but feel a little scared. He was exhausted before crawling to the tiger mother to nurse. If he had gone any farther, he would not have been able to nurse. He had seen a documentary before, saying that some particularly proud tigresses would let their cubs crawl to them to nurse after giving birth, instead of holding the cubs in their mouths to feed them. This is to check whether the cub is healthy. If it is too weak to crawl any distance, the tigress will abandon such a sick cub. Even if such cubs are cared for carefully, they may die in infancy. It is better to throw them away before they have developed feelings to avoid wasting milk. The weak do not deserve to survive. It's cruel, but it's also engraved deep in the genes, the survival wisdom accumulated by tigers over thousands of years of reproduction. Otherwise, if a weak cub drags the tigress, it is very likely that the apparently healthy cub will not survive. In this case, I will work hard and use my golden fingers to make myself stronger. Otherwise, when the tiger mother sees that I am still so thin and looks like I am ready to die at any moment, I am afraid she will have the idea of abandoning her. Thinking of this, Cang Nian made up his mind. Although he had just finished feeding and felt warm in his stomach and wanted to sleep, he still braced himself and continued crawling on the ground. Ding. Crawling 1M, crawling skill proficiency +1. 3/100. Ding. Crawling 1M, crawling skill proficiency +1. 4/100. Ding. Crawling 1M, crawling skill proficiency +1. 5 out of 100. That I don't know how long it took, but Cang Nian felt exhausted, and the system panel showed that the crawling proficiency had accumulated to 5. At this time, he had clearly felt that his crawling was no longer so shaky. Although he was still crawling slowly with his belly close to the ground, it was still faster than at the beginning. However, after such a period of exercise, the energy recovered from one feeding was also exhausted. Although it is only a short distance of 4 meters, it is already a lot of exercise for a newborn tiger cub. Fortunately, when he felt that he was running out of energy, he crawled towards the tiger mother. The tiger cub's natural strong sense of smell allowed him to do this easily without opening his eyes. Without thinking, he took a pacifier in his mouth and sucked it hard. Having already had the experience of drinking milk once, he no longer had any resistance and drank milk with peace of mind. Seeing that Cang Nian, who was obviously smaller than the other tiger cub, was drinking milk for the second time so soon, the tiger mother was a little confused and at the same time relieved. It seems that this little guy, who looks skinny and likely to die young, has a strong survival instinct and may be able to be fed. The tiger mother, who gave birth for the first time, had made up her mind that as long as the little guy didn't lose his desire to live, she would try her best to feed him. At worst, she could hunt a few more times to store enough milk. It was at the top of the food chain in this forest, a well-deserved queen. The young tiger mother had her own pride. There were only 2 tiger babies in the first litter, and she would definitely be able to feed them all. Ding. Drink 100 milliliters of milk, drinking milk skill proficiency +1. 3 out of 100. At this time, the system prompt sounded in Cang Nian's mind, and he nodded suddenly. He was still thinking about how to improve the skill of drinking milk. Now it seems that it is an improvement in appetite. When I drank milk for the first time, I was almost starving, but I was full after drinking 100 milliliters. The second time I drank milk, the system prompt sounded that I had drunk 100 milliliters, but I was not completely full and could suck twice more. How long has it been? It must not be a normal increase in appetite, but an improvement brought by the system. Thinking of this, he was even more satisfied. The bigger the appetite, the more energy he could store, and the faster he would grow. It was indeed a very useful skill. When he could eat meat in the future, he could eat more, but Cang Nian was confident that by then, his various skills would be improved to a level far higher than that of ordinary tigers, and he would not worry about food. He would definitely grow into a tiger king unprecedented in history. Chapter 3, Pooping is like shooting an arrow, farting is like thunder. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ding! Digest 100 g of food, digestion skill proficiency +1. 1/100. After drinking milk for the second time, a new system prompt sounded in Cang Nian's mind: if digestion is also a skill, will I be able to digest food faster in the future? Not bad, not bad. Once this skill is strengthened, it can be eaten and digested, and the growth rate will be amazing. The discovery of another new skill surprised Cang Nian and he nodded with satisfaction. Writing this, I hope readers will remember our domain name Taiwan Novel Network. Aha! But then, Cang Nian, who had just eaten and drank enough and was about to improve his crawling skill proficiency, felt an impulse coming from his lower body. He wanted to poop. This was a normal physiological phenomenon, and he wouldn't feel embarrassed. However, when he climbed to the side and started to exert force, he realized that he couldn't pull it out. This made him panic a little. What's going on? Is it possible that it was not fully developed in the tiger mother's belly, and her anus was not slit? Cang Nian was thinking about it without tears. Ouch! However, just when he was struggling, a childish squealing sound came from not far away. It was the little tiger cub that was born earlier than me. Then, from the light perception of his eyes and hearing, he noticed that the tiger mother who had been resting on the side got up and walked towards the little tiger cub. Immediately, Cang Nian heard another sound of licking, the comfortable humming of the tiger cub, and an unclear squeaking sound. Wait, is this the tiger mother helping her cubs to defecate? I remembered that many animal cubs cannot defecate on their own within a month or two after birth and need help from their mothers. Such movement made Cang Nian suddenly realize, this was popular science knowledge he had seen while watching videos in his previous life. Now that he had examples, he immediately recalled it. Thinking of this, Cang Nian also screamed. Over there, the tiger mother, who had just helped a little tiger cub defecate, quickly came to Cang Nian's side. Immediately, Cang Nian felt his body light up and extremely relaxed. Ding! If you poop once, your pooping skill proficiency +1. 1/100. Ding! Pee once, peeing skill proficiency +1. 1/100. At this time, a system prompt sounded, making Cang Nian couldn't help but twitch the corner of his mouth. Drinking milk is just a skill, but pooping and peeing is also a skill. What's the use of practicing these two skills? Shitting is like shooting an arrow, and farting is like thunder. Cang Nian couldn't help but complain in his heart. However, after a while, he felt that this might actually be of some use. After all, I can't even urinate on my own now, and without external intervention, it will last for at least a month or two, and if this can be counted as a skill, it means that it can be trained. As the number of defecation increases, you should be able to master the ability to defecate on your own faster. Although as a tiger cub, it is natural for the tiger mother to lick her buttocks to assist in excretion, but it is also good to make the tiger mother less troublesome and less embarrassing for herself. After shaking his head, he no longer dwelled on this problem. After drinking milk, pooping, and peeing, the old man, who was already in his best condition, started crawling again. The harder you work now, the stronger you will be in the future. With such a Emperor system in my body, every bit of effort I put in will not be wasted, but will be faithfully transformed into my own strength. He was born with a much different body shape than the tiger cubs he was born with, and it was unclear whether he was a brother or a sister. In this case, let the stupid bird fly first. Ding! Crawling 1M, crawling skill proficiency +1. 6/100. Ding! Crawling 1M, crawling skill proficiency +1. 7/100. Ding! Crawling 1M, crawling skill proficiency +1. 8 out of 100. I don't know how long it took, but Cang Nian heard several system prompts in his mind. Every time he reached a proficiency level, Cang Nian felt that his crawling became a little more stable, and his limbs seemed to be a little stronger. This made him even more excited. Exercise not only tests the body, but also tests the soul. When high-intensity exercise reaches the fatigue stage, every movement is torture. Therefore, if a person is not strong-willed, at this stage, there will be a voice in his heart, tempting him to stop and rest. Cang Nian is now undergoing such torture and testing. His body is trembling, his breathing is short, and his muscles are sore. However, the feedback from the system prevented him from being defeated by such difficulties. Instead, he turned the pain into a stimulant to stimulate his spirit and strived forward. Roar. But just when he was immersed in training himself, a low roar came from behind, which startled him. Then, a warm breath came from the back of his neck, and then he felt a force that was huge but gentle compared to himself, firmly clamping the back of his neck. The next second, a feeling of weakness came over him. He instinctively curled up his limbs and tail, as if he had lost consciousness, and then his whole body became airborne. After being refreshed by a breeze, Cang Nian regained consciousness and felt that he landed smoothly. After moving a little, Cang Nian realized that there was a small body with short hair like his next to him, and through his eyelids that could see a little light, he could see a huge figure lying down. I was crawling too hard just now and crawled a little far, so the tiger mother brought me back. Recalling the series of perceptions just now, Cang Nian suddenly thought, there is no way, he hasn't opened his eyes yet, and the way he perceives the outside world is basically hearing. In addition, the light can pass through his eyes that haven't opened yet, so he can vaguely perceive the outside world. However, seeing that the proficiency of crawling skills on the system panel has reached 10 out of 100, he nodded with satisfaction. The first time he crawled after birth, he only crawled 2 meters before he ran out of energy. The second time he crawled 3 meters and had his second meal. Now, the third time he crawled a full 5 meters. There is no doubt that this obvious progress is a change brought about by the system. According to this progress, I can crawl 10 meters on the first day, and in a week or even less, I can reach 100 proficiency in the crawling skill. I just don't know what will happen after I reach full proficiency. Will I be able to walk directly? Cang Nian looked forward to it with some anticipation, but after feeling his tired body and unusual sleepiness, Cang Nian did not plan to continue training. He is still very weak and has very limited physical strength, and now, he can feel that the light outside the cave has become weaker, and it is probably getting dark. The little tiger cub still needs to be a little tiger cub, and it's time to sleep well when it gets dark. Thinking of this, Cang Nian came to. The tiger mother skillfully picked up the pacifier, and sucked it hard. Before going to bed, it's better to fill your stomach first. Chapter 4 Tiger Mom is Hungry. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ding. Sleep for 12 hours, sleep skill proficiency +4. 4 out of 100. As soon as he woke up the next day, a system notification sounded in Cang Nian's mind. With the previous precedent that pooping and peeing were considered skills, he was not surprised that sleeping was also considered a skill. Even if one level of proficiency is calculated every 3 hours, the speed at which sleep skills gain proficiency should be about the same as drinking milk. I just don't know what effect it will have if it is improved. Could it be that the quality of sleep is higher? Cang Nian did some calculations, and then habitually thought about what the new skills could be used for. Goyalu. However, at this time, there was an obvious gurgling sound in his abdomen, letting him know that he was hungry again. This is normal. Not to mention that as a tiger cub, I am already growing. Even when I was a human in my previous life, I would wake up hungry and constipated after sleeping for 12 hours, so, without thinking, he approached the tiger mother, picked up the pacifier and sucked hard. Ding. Drink 100 milliliters of milk, milk drinking skill proficiency +1. 4 out of 100, because I drank milk once before going to bed last night. Cang Nian's milk drinking skill proficiency has now reached 4 out of 100. At this time, the brothers/sisters on the side seemed to be awakened by the sound of Cang Nian sucking milk. They stood up with a groan and moved to the side to suck hard. Cang Nian did not stop after drinking a total of 400 milliliters and continued to suck. After drinking milk several times, his food limit is increasing. Although the extent is not very obvious, it is more and more. Cumulatively, after reaching a total of 400 milliliters, he drank almost 50 milliliters before stopping. Then, after eating and drinking enough, Cang Nian continued to be self-disciplined. The day's plan begins in the morning. You must seize every minute and every second in the early stages of growth to make yourself stronger, otherwise, given that her frail little body was much smaller than her brothers/sisters when she was born, what should the tiger mother do if she feels that she can no longer support herself and abandons her? He is just a little tiger cub now. Without the protection of the tiger mother, he will definitely die. Therefore, he must be self-disciplined. He wants to exercise. Only by becoming stronger can we survive safely in the dangerous jungle. Thinking like this, Cang Nian felt full of motivation and continued to crawl. After a night's rest, and the fact that his crawling skill proficiency had reached 10 out of 100, before, he now climbed up more powerfully and became much more stable. At this time, the sibling tiger cub on the side had also eaten its fill. However, because it was just 1 day old and it was still too early to open its eyes, it was not aware of what Cang Nian was doing. Newly born tiger cubs do not think about the significance of changes in sounds, smells, and lights around them, therefore, it just ate and drank enough, then lay down where it was and fell asleep soundly. Tigers are animals with great sleep needs. Adult tigers sleep or doze for 14 to 16 hours a day, while tiger cubs have even greater sleep needs and sleep for 20 hours a day. Ugh. Therefore, the tiger mother was a little confused when she saw Cang Nian crawling around after eating milk. This little brat is so active. However, it is a good thing that the tiger cub can move. When Cang Nian was born yesterday, the tiger mother saw that the baby was obviously much smaller than the first tiger cub, and she was worried that he would die in infancy. Looking at it now, since it can eat and crawl, it's not a big problem. As long as they don't crawl out of the burrow, the tiger mother won't interfere. Last night, it was because Cang Nian was too excited to crawl and didn't pay attention to the direction and had climbed to the edge of the cave entrance that the tiger mother went to pick him back up. Goyalu. At this time, there was a gurgling sound from the tiger mother's belly, which made Cang Nian couldn't help but look back. However, with his blindfolded eyes, he could only see red and white through a little light and could not see the situation clearly, but the growling sound of tiger mother's stomach made him worried. Tiger mother is hungry. That's right. Although it is not as difficult for tigers to give birth as it is for humans, they cannot hunt for 3 days before giving birth. They should not eat for 4 or 5 days now. If I remember correctly, tigers in the wild usually eat once a week, but their hunting success rate is only 30 to 50%. It is impossible to wait until they are hungry before trying to hunt. If the tiger mother doesn't go hunting now, she will miss her best physical condition. If she fails twice, she will completely lose the possibility of successful hunting. Cang Nian thought worriedly, there is no doubt that tiger mom needs to eat now. If they don't eat, the mother and her son will starve to death together. But now, I am only 1 day old. Not to mention my ability to protect myself, I have not even opened my eyes. If any slightly larger predator invades the tiger's den, I will definitely die. In the wild, there are too many such animals: foxes, wolves, mountain cats, leopards, wild boars. These carnivores or omnivores can only whimper and run away in front of adult tigers, but they can easily kill tiger cubs like themselves. Moreover, these animals all have the same reasons for killing tiger cubs. Although tigers generally do not hunt predators, their existence itself is a plunder of resources in an area. Compared with other carnivores, tigers are larger and require more nutrients. If there are tigers in an area, there will be significantly less food for other carnivores to hunt, so, it is the consensus of these carnivores to strangle the tiger cubs in the cradle. Thinking of this, Cang Nian was already scared. As long as the tiger mother left the tiger den to hunt, the two brothers would have no shelter. Any medium-sized or larger carnivore that came in from outside would be a fatal blow. But he couldn't stop the tiger mother from hunting, otherwise the tiger mother would become more and more hungry and weak, and the mother and the 3 would die. What's more, how could he stop the tiger mother from hunting now? Thousands of thoughts flashed through his mind, and under the vision of blindfolded eyes, Cang Nian had already seen that the huge body of the tiger mother had stood up. Sure enough, the tiger mother was going to hunt. But then, Cang Nian was stunned. The tiger mother did not walk out of the cave in the direction of the light. Listening to its imperceptible footsteps, it was actually walking towards the inside of the cave. After walking a few steps, the tiger mother stopped, and then Cang Nian heard a splash of water. Huh! So it's drinking water. Cang Nian breathed a sigh of relief, but not completely relaxed. Although Tiger Mom is drinking water now, it doesn't mean that she won't go hunting. Hunger will accumulate over time and Tiger Mom will go hunting after all. The only difference is whether she goes today or tomorrow. But then, Cang Nian felt something was wrong. Wow! There was a violent splash of water, followed by a dripping sound of water flowing down, hitting the stone slabs of the cave. After a few seconds, a strong smell of blood came, and Cang Nian was completely dumbfounded. Chapter 5 Smart Tiger Mom. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Turtle. This is too smart, isn't it? Could it be that the tiger mother has become a spirit, that with such a movement, how could Cang Nian not know what happened? Obviously, the cave where the tiger mother carefully selected the cubs was not only of suitable temperature and good ventilation, but also had a pool of water deep inside. And the tiger mother just lifted up a prey corpse from the pool. The strong smell of blood was emitted from the prey corpse. Undoubtedly, this was the preparation made by the tiger mother before giving birth. It knew that it would not be able to hunt for a while, and even if it gave birth to the cubs and recovered its vitality, it would not be able to rest assured with the young cubs. So, before giving birth, the tiger mother not only captured the prey to sustain her production period, but also deliberately hunted again and stored the uneaten prey in the pool of water in the cave. Based on the body temperature, Cang Nian could roughly judge that it should be May or June now. Although it was not hot yet, fresh blood and flesh would definitely not be able to maintain a week without rotting under the premise of being exposed to the air. The tiger mother submerged the prey's body in the pool. The cold water isolated the heat and air, greatly extending the preservation time of the prey. Even if this would make the surface of the flesh and blood appear white and stiff, it is much better than rotting. Huh! With such a smart mother, my growth should be much smoother. Thinking of this, Cang Nian thought with relief in his heart. At this stage, he is still very weak, and whether he can survive depends entirely on the tiger mother, but the tiger mother is so smart, there is nothing to worry about. Knowing that it is difficult to take care of the cubs after giving birth, so extra hunting in advance and storing prey for emergency use, such IQ is really rare among animals. And the tiger mother's move directly extended the time for it to leave the cave for the first hunt after the birth of the two brothers by about a week. According to this calculation, my crawling skill will definitely be fully proficient by then, and it is possible that my eyes will be open. I can't say that I can protect myself, but at least I can detect danger earlier, so that I can call back the tiger mother who is hunting nearby by howling. Tiger mother cleverly arranged in advance, allowing Cang Nian to replan. By the way, my current safety depends on whether Tiger Mother can rescue me in time. In this case, I have to practice how to call for help. Following this line of thought, an inspiration flashed in Cang Nian's mind. The more he thought about it, the more he felt it made sense. Based on the increase in the proficiency of crawling skills, even if I fully master this skill, I can barely crawl without touching my belly to the ground. In this case, during the first hunting trip of Tiger Mother in the cave, if there is any predator that threatens the lives of the brothers, let alone resistance, even escape will be a problem. So, being able to call Tiger Mother to cry for help is naturally the top priority. The louder and more penetrating the roar, the more likely it is that the tiger mother hunting nearby will hear it, and the greater the chance of being rescued. If your roar is only as loud as a kitten's meow, then just wait for death. Thinking this way, Cang Nian opened his tender little mouth and let his tender throat make a sound. However, 2 seconds later, he did not hear the familiar system prompt sound in his mind. Is the sound too small? Cang Nian thought suspiciously. Then, he used all his strength to open his mouth and try to make the loudest sound. Ding! Baby voice once, baby voice skill proficiency +1. 1/100. Finally, when Cang Nian was almost out of breath, the system prompt sound finally came late. Ahem. Baby voice. Although my roar now doesn't have the majesty of the king of beasts, there's no need for such a shameful name as baby voice, right? That this coquettish skill name almost made Cang Nian slip his waist, and he couldn't help but complain in his heart. However, he now understands that compared with skills such as crawling 1 meter, drinking 100 milliliters of milk, and sleeping for 3 hours, roaring is obviously easier to brush proficiency. Therefore, the system should be to make it less easy for him to brush up the proficiency of roaring skills, so the roar that meets the system judgment conditions is more difficult. Otherwise, if any roar can be counted, he can brush up the proficiency of roaring skills in 2.5 minutes. Recalling yesterday, I roared quite a few times, but the system prompt sound was not triggered. Obviously, the volume was not enough. But even if I have to use all my strength to meet the judgment conditions, the difficulty of brushing the proficiency of roaring skills is much lower than other skills. Cang Nian swallowed his saliva and prepared to rest for a while before roaring again. If he didn't rest, he felt that if he screamed with all his strength, he might damage his throat, which would be a loss. But at this moment, he suddenly felt a huge figure approaching through the light through his white eyelids. Cang Nian was no stranger to this, it was Tiger Mom. But the next second, Tiger Mom's huge head, due to a night of digestion, the nutrients in the milk he drank yesterday had been absorbed, and only impurities were left at this moment. With the help of Tiger Mom, they were all discharged. Ding. Pull asterisk once, pull asterisk skill proficiency +1. 2 out of 100, ding. Spread once, spread skill proficiency +1. 2/100. The system prompt sound came as expected, making Cang Nian embarrassed. It seems that my roar just now made Tiger Mom think that I needed help to solve the 3 urgent problems, so she came to help. Thinking of this, Cang Nian was embarrassed and moved. He was an orphan in his previous life, without relatives, so naturally he had never experienced what maternal love was. Although animals can't speak, they express their emotions more directly. This kind of meticulous maternal love makes Cang Nian feel warm in his heart. When I grow up, when Tiger Mom is old and can't hunt anymore, I will definitely let her have prey to eat at any time. Cang Nian thought with determination. For animals, prey is the best reward. Thinking of this, after solving the excretion problem, Cang Nian continued to be self-disciplined. Since Tiger Mom doesn't need to go out hunting in the short term, I can exercise my body with peace of mind. Set a small goal to brush the proficiency of crawling skills to 100 within 5 days. So, Cang Nian stopped wasting time and started crawling. Ding. Crawl 1m, crawling skill proficiency +1. 11 out of 100, ding. Crawl 1m, crawling skill proficiency +1. 12/100, listening to the system prompts in his mind and his body getting stronger bit by bit, Cang Nian crawled harder. Chapter 6 Qualitative Change in Skill Evolution. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ding. Crawl 1m, crawl skill proficiency +1. 99/100, ding. Crawl 1m, crawl skill proficiency +1. 100 out of 100, I hope readers will remember our domain name Taiwan Novel Network. Ding. Congratulations to the host, the crawl skill proficiency has reached the maximum value, and the skill has evolved into crawling. Hoo. I finally maxed out the proficiency. Is this a qualitative change? Cang Nian was panting and exhaling, but he felt a force rising from his body out of thin air, making his weak limbs strong, and he felt extremely happy. It is now the 5th day since he was born. Without slacking off, he has maxed out the proficiency of the crawl skill in just 5 days. This is actually not difficult to achieve. After all, the system's improvement mechanism does not require a one-time improvement after the proficiency is maxed out. Before that, every time a system prompt is achieved, there will be a small improvement. Therefore, on the first day, he could only crawl 10 meters, on the second day, Cang Nian could crawl 15 meters, and on the third day, he could crawl 20 meters. In this way, today is the 5th day after birth, and he has finally maxed out his crawling skill proficiency. Sure enough, there will be a qualitative change. Although it is still just a cub, the strength of my limbs can now support my belly from touching the ground, and I can truly crawl on all fours, that after a short break, Cang Nian stood up again and crawled for the first time. Although he was still trembling, it was already a feat for a tiger cub at this stage. After all, it takes nearly a month for an ordinary tiger cub to crawl on all fours, but he can do it in less than a week. The tiger mother on the side watched this active baby stand up and walk, and a smile appeared on her proud and beautiful face. It can't remember how long it took for it to be able to walk when it was a child, but the bigger baby next to it can't walk now. Instead, the little one who was born to die has learned to walk first, which makes the tiger mother very happy. Sure enough, the baby she gave birth to must be good. Well, I must have been able to walk so early in my life. Thinking of this, the tiger mother couldn't help but use her big paw to pull the bigger tiger baby next to her. Woo! That the bigger tiger baby was awakened from his sleep, whimpered in confusion, twisted his butt, and curled up to sleep again. Looking at this inactive tiger baby, the tiger mother felt a little disappointed. If this cub could be as active as Cang Nian, he would definitely learn to walk early. It's not like she doesn't have milk to make for the two brothers. However, thinking of this, the tiger mother couldn't help but look at the puddle. The food she prepared was obviously enough for her to consume for half a month, but now it only lasted for 5 days. After eating all the food, she was already a little hungry. It seems that the two tiger cubs are too greedy, so I have to go out hunting in advance. However, it is not too worried. It is the queen of this forest. Now that its body has recovered after giving birth, hunting is just a piece of cake. It is ready to go out hunting when night falls tonight. Although tigers are not completely nocturnal animals, they have strong night vision. Based on the experience of tiger mothers in the past, it is believed that the success rate of hunting at night will be higher. At this time, Cang Nian was extremely puzzled. Why have I walked for several meters, and there is no system prompt sound? Is the system broken? Cang Nian wondered. Although he did not have a ruler and did not even open his eyes to accurately judge the distance, the interval distance of the system prompt sound allowed him to roughly perceive how far he had crawled. After the crawling skill evolved to crawling, he felt that he had crawled 7 or 8 meters. Why hadn't the system prompt sound come? Suspicious, Cang Nian continued to crawl. After the crawling skill proficiency was maxed out and the qualitative change was made, his limbs became stronger. Originally, crawling 10 meters was about 1/3 of the daily exercise, which took about 2.5 hours. Now, it only took about 10 minutes to crawl 10 meters, which is a very obvious improvement. Ding! Crawling 10 crawling skill proficiency +1. 1/100. At this time, a system prompt finally came, which cheered up Cang Nian. I see. It's too easy for me to crawl 1 meter now. If the experience bar is still this long, I can max out this advanced skill in minutes. So now you need to crawl 10 meters to get 1 level of proficiency, and you need 1,000 meters to max it out. For me now, it's not too easy, but it's not too difficult. Cang Nian nodded his head and analyzed. Although the experience bar is longer, Cang Nian is not discouraged at all. The crawling skill has evolved to crawling, which means that his growth potential is far more than this. As long as you are hardworking, you can become stronger. If he maxes out the proficiency of the crawling skill and then has nothing, that would be something that would make him unhappy. Now, it was just what he wanted. The qualitative change of reaching the maximum proficiency of the crawling skill made my limbs stronger. I wonder what kind of qualitative change will happen if I reach the maximum proficiency of other skills. Then, while continuing to crawl and brushing the proficiency of the crawling skill, Cang Nian imagined the evolution of other skills. The skill of drinking milk has now reached 70 out of 100. Because the amount of exercise is increasing every day, his appetite is also increasing by leaps and bounds. With 8 meals of milk a day, it is not far from reaching the full level. However, Cang Nian feels that after this skill is fully mastered, it will only usher in a big increase in appetite, and will not allow him to eat meat. The skill of digestion is synchronized with the skill of drinking milk. After all, you have to digest as much as you eat. If this skill changes qualitatively, it is estimated that the digestive ability will be greatly improved and converted into energy faster. As for pooping and peeing, it is slightly less, only 50/100. After all, even if Cang Nian wants to poop 100 times a day, he must have something in his stomach to poop. Cang Nian is most looking forward to the qualitative change of these two skills. He has a hunch that after these two skills change qualitatively, he will be able to defecate on his own. In this way, he will not need Tiger Mom to assist him in defecation frequently. Although he has long adapted to it and has no sense of shame about it, it is also good to let Tiger Mom work less. In addition, after crawling, the closest to qualitative change is baby voice, which has now reached 90/100. Before dark today, I should be able to brush up the proficiency. It is estimated that after this skill has qualitatively changed, my voice will be much louder. Thinking of this, Cang Nian opened his mouth wide and prepared to continue brushing the proficiency of baby voice, but at this moment, he suddenly felt his eyelids move, and a dazzling light passed through the gap between his eyelids. After noticing such a change, Cang Nian was stunned at first, and then he was ecstatic and tried his best to open his eyelids. Ah! Then, he screamed again, hearing the movement from his side. Tiger Mom hurriedly trotted over, lowered her head and was about to lick Cang Nian's butt. This active little cub often poops, but Cang Nian didn't wait for Tiger Mom to lick his butt. He turned to face Tiger Mom and raised his little head. Through the gap between his eyelids, he could vaguely see a touch of orange on Tiger Mom's body. Seeing this, Tiger Mom was stunned at first, and then saw a trace of watery crystals between Cang Nian's eyelids. The cub is about to open his eyes. This thought immediately flashed through Tiger Mom's mind, and then she thought of Cang Nian's strange behavior, so she lowered her big head, stretched out her big tongue, and gently licked Cang Nian's little face. Under Tiger Mom's licking, the layer of sticky, half-dry and half-wet gelatin between Cang Nian's eyelids melted, and Cang Nian suddenly felt bright in front of his eyes. Chapter 7 Open Your Eyes. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Finally open your eyes. That this was Cang Nian's first thought. As the gum between his eyelids was licked away, Cang Nian opened his wet, dark eyes. The next second, a vigorous and elegant black, orange and white tiger appeared in front of Cang Nian's eyes. Already mentally prepared, Cang Nian was not afraid of the tiger that appeared in front of him. Instead, he felt a deep attachment to it and couldn't help but get close to it. Of course, this is a tiger mom. The tiger mother looks even more beautiful than I imagined, and the color of her fur is extremely bright, showing her good health. Its fur is short and sticks to its body, highlighting the bulging muscles under its fur. Although it is not strong, it has clear lines and a strong sense of strength. When Cang Nian was observing Tiger Mother's appearance, Tiger Mother was also looking at Cang Nian, and the more she looked at it, the more the Tiger Mother liked it. Although the tiger cub is very cute when its eyes are closed, the eyes are the windows to the soul. After opening them, looking at those wet and shiny eyes, the tiger mother was very happy. This is its child. It looked like it was going to die when it was born, but now it is raising it to be healthy. Thinking of this, the tiger mother couldn't help but turn her head and look at the other little tiger cub who was still sleeping soundly beside her. Then, it came close to the little tiger cub, ignoring that the tiger cub was still sleeping, and licked the little tiger cub's face with its big tongue. Woo woo. The little tiger cub was licked awake by its mother and whimpered in a daze, completely unaware of the situation. However, the tiger mother saw that the little tiger cub had not opened its eyes after licking it for a long time, so she stopped harassing it. Sigh. I was obviously stronger when I was born, so why haven't I opened my eyes yet? The tiger mother lay on the ground sadly, looking at the little tiger cub. As for Cang Nian, after opening his eyes, he first observed his surroundings. However, he just realized that there seemed to be something wrong with his eyesight. What's going on? Why was I myopic when I was born? Cang Nian thought with great worry. Now, it seemed that he could only see clearly what was about 3 meters in front of him. Any further away and it becomes very blurry. After thinking about it for a while, there was no result. Cang Nian could only suppress his worries and look at the tiger mother not far away, and the tiger cubs born to his own sibling in front of the tiger mother. Regardless of the time of birth and body shape, I should be the younger brother, but I am the first to open my eyes. It's not up to you who is the older brother. Looking at the sleeping tiger cub, Cang Nian thought with a smirk. However, the opponent's figure is indeed much larger than his own. He looked at himself and saw that he was only half the size of the other person. This is the state that I can only achieve after 5 days of training and evolving my crawling skills to crawling. If it had been 5 days ago, when the two brothers were born, the size gap between themselves and each other would only be even greater. This guy must have sucked up all the nutrients in the tiger mother's belly, which is why I am so thin. Cang Nian thought sadly in his heart. Thinking of this, Cang Nian felt even more urgent. If you are born with deficiencies, you will have to work harder the day after tomorrow. Now brother tiger has not opened his eyes and has no awareness of training himself. This is a good opportunity for him to overtake him. That's right. Cang Nian already regards each other as his younger brother. Who allowed it to have a lower IQ than myself and open its eyes too late? After being envious and jealous for a while, Cang Nian got up again and crawled with all his strength. If you want to become stronger, you have to work hard to gain skill proficiency. As an older brother, I must be better than my younger brother. Ding! Crawling 10m, crawling skill proficiency +1. 5 out of 100, the sky was getting dark, and Cang Nian stopped his movements while panting. In less than half a day, apart from eating and drinking, he spent all his time improving the proficiency of his crawling skills. During this period, when his voice is well rested, he will scream with all his strength to improve his proficiency in the milk sound skill. In just a short time, the crawling proficiency level has reached 5 levels, while the milking proficiency level has reached the 98th level, and a qualitative change will soon come. However, now that his energy was almost exhausted, his voice was a little hoarse, and it was already dark. It was time to go to bed. Thinking of this, Cang Nian approached the tiger mother and skillfully picked up the pacifier and sucked it. The tiger brother on the side was very imitative. Hearing the sound of Cang Nian's mouth being smacked, he also got up and came over to drink milk. Ding! Drink 100 milliliters of milk. Milk drinking skill proficiency +1. 82/100. When Cang Nian's belly was fully rounded, a system prompt sounded in his mind. Now, his food intake has been greatly improved compared to when he was just born. He can drink more than 200 milliliters of milk at a time, so he can gain proficiency in this skill much faster. But looking at brother Hu on the side, Cang Nian was a little frustrated. This guy is big and eats more than me. I hope that after my milk drinking skills improve, I can eat more than brother Hu, otherwise my body shape will just keep falling behind. Seeing this scene, Cang Nian thought expectantly. Ding! Open your eyes for 3 hours, and your eye-opening skill proficiency +1. 1/100. At this moment, another system prompt sounded in Cang Nian's mind. So that's it, the eyesight of the tiger cub that just opened its eyes is not perfect, but it gets better and better as time goes by. The 3H level of proficiency is about the same as the sleeping skill. Hearing this, Cang Nian analyzed thoughtfully. He felt that his vision had improved a little, and he could see things clearly from a distance of about 4 meters. Things further away gradually became blurry. At this time, the tiger brother, who had a bigger appetite, finally stopped sucking, curled up comfortably, and prepared to fall asleep again. In fact, the sleeping time of the tiger brother was the proportion that a tiger cub who had just been born should have. Generally, tiger cubs at this stage can sleep for nearly 20 hours a day. It is an outlier for a tiger cub like Cang Nian to sleep and move half and half a day. Wow! Just as Cang Nian was thinking, the tiger mother beside him suddenly stood up. Then, she leaned over and lowered her head to help the tiger brother defecate. Then, she came behind Cang Nian and made the same action. Ding! Shit once, shit skill proficiency +1. 56/100. Ding! P once, P skill proficiency +1. 56/100. Then, 2 system prompts came from Cang Nian's mind. No. I didn't yell, and tiger brother didn't yell either, so why did tiger mom take the initiative to help us defecate? That it seemed like an ordinary action, but this abnormal timing made Cang Nian frown, and he realized that things were not simple. Roar! Cang Nian saw tiger mom walk around in front of him and roared softly, as if she was telling him something. Then, tiger mom raised her head and stood up, exuding a fierce aura. looking out of the cave. Seeing this, Cang Nian immediately understood. Tiger Mom is going out hunting. Chapter 8 Tiger Mom Hunting, First Crisis. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Watching the tiger mother walk out of the cave step by step, Cang Nian subconsciously chased after her for 2 steps and roared. Hearing the sound, the tiger mother turned around, the fierceness in her eyes was restrained, and she looked at her gently for a few seconds before running without looking back. Seeing this, Cang Nian could only stop. His appetite was increasing with the improvement of his milk drinking skills, and the amount of exercise he did every day, which was far more than that of ordinary tiger cubs, also made him consume more energy, resulting in more milk every day, and the tiger brother, with an unusually large body, could eat and sleep, and it is estimated that his appetite could be twice as much as his own. So, although there were only 2 little tiger cubs, the brothers were big eaters, and their consumption was extremely terrifying. Even if the tiger mother prepared a prey in advance in case of unnecessary use, the energy stored by the brothers had been almost consumed 5 days after they were born. Thinking of this, Cang Nian recalled that when he drank milk for the last time, the tiger mother's abdomen was already quite shriveled, and when he was full, he could no longer suck out any milk. Obviously, in order to ensure the healthy growth of the 2 brothers, Tiger Mom must go out hunting tonight. Then I can't sleep tonight, at least not before Tiger Mom comes back, otherwise if there is any danger, I will definitely die in my sleep. Faced with such an emergency, Cang Nian can only make temporary plans, and he dared not refresh the proficiency of any skills. Without Tiger Mom, the physical strength he just drank once is all the capital for self-protection. Thinking of this, Cang Nian came to Tiger Brother and leaned on him. Although it should be May or June now, Tiger Mom should be a Siberian tiger, and the latitude is high, so the temperature difference between day and night is relatively large, and it is still a bit cold at night. Therefore, leaning on Tiger Brother, you can hug each other for warmth. Woo! Sensing Cang Nian coming over, Tiger Brother hummed twice and fell asleep again. It's comfortable to not understand anything, and there's no need to worry. Looking at Tiger Brother, who didn't realize how dangerous it would be when Tiger Mom left, Cang Nian's mouth twitched. Then, he quietly looked out of the cave, and began to think wildly. After a whole day of self-discipline, Cang Nian's body was already quite tired, but now he couldn't use up his energy, and he couldn't close his eyes to sleep, which was not an easy thing, if he was just in a daze. Cang Nian was sure that he would definitely fall asleep unconsciously. However, every little movement outside the cave would make Cang Nian, whose eyelids were getting heavier and heavier, suddenly wake up. Ding! Open eyes for 3 hours, eye-opening skill proficiency +1. 2 out of 100, unconsciously, 3 hours passed, and the proficiency of the eye-opening skill increased by 1 level. I don't know how long it will take Tiger Mom to hunt. What prey will she hunt? I hope to catch a bigger prey, so that the time of her next hunt can be delayed a little longer. By then, I will max out the proficiency of the crawling skill to achieve a qualitative change, and I should be able to run, and my self-protection ability should be much stronger. Cang Nian was thinking about some random things in his mind, fighting against physical fatigue. However, now that his eye-opening skill proficiency has increased by 1 level, his vision has improved a little, and the clear visual distance has reached 5 meters, and he can already see the situation at the cave entrance clearly. In addition, he can basically see clearly in the depths of the cave. There is no difference from his speculation before his eyes were opened. There is a small pool in the depths of the cave. The area of the pool is not large, only a few square meters, but it is more than enough to provide Tiger Mom with daily drinking and sink the excess prey into the water for storage. Ding! Eyes open for 3 hours, eye-opening skill proficiency +1. 3/100. After another period of random thoughts, the system prompt sounded again, and Cang Nian couldn't help frowning. Tiger Mom has been out hunting for 6 hours. Although he didn't know how long it took the tiger to hunt once, Cang Nian felt that after 6 hours, the hunting should be over, right? Did Tiger Mom encounter any trouble? Cang Nian was worried uncontrollably. However, thinking that the Siberian tiger is the absolute dominant creature in the ecological environment where it is located, and there are almost no animals that can threaten them, Cang Nian felt a lot more at ease. If she encounters danger, Tiger Mom will definitely run away. Moreover, even if she really encounters danger, Tiger Mom only needs to roar, and the tiger roar will shake the mountains and forests, which can at least be heard by creatures within a radius of 3 kilometers. In order to protect herself and Tiger Brother, Tiger Mom should not run too far when hunting. Since there is no tiger roar, there should be no danger. Cang Nian can only think to comfort himself. At this time, he felt how tormented his weakness was. Once the Tiger Mom who protected him was gone, he would be in a state of panic all day long. This made him determined to be more hardworking, more self-disciplined, and become stronger as soon as possible. The next time Tiger Mom goes out hunting, he will never be so powerless. Ouch! At this time, Cang Nian heard a sound of passing through the bushes outside the cave. Then, an orange-yellow figure came from far away. Because Cang Nian's vision is only clear within a range of 5 meters, the farther it is, the blurrier it is, and he can't see what the figure coming from afar is. However, this iconic orange-yellow color made him feel relieved. It should be Tiger Mom's return. So, he stood up and took 2 steps out of the cave impatiently, but after just 2 steps, he realized something was wrong. The orange-yellow figure was getting closer and closer, but when it got closer, Cang Nian found that it was not as big as he remembered. Then, he saw the orange-yellow figure trotting towards him, until the other party entered the 5-meter range of his vision, and he was immediately shocked. Gone. It's not Tiger Mom. It's a fox. Cang Nian couldn't help but burst out a curse in his mind. His legs almost softened, and he quickly retreated. The orange-yellow figure became clear from blurry. It was a fox with messy fur, rushing towards him with green eyes. Its orange-yellow hair color with black and white made Cang Nian recognize it as Tiger Mom. Ah! While retreating, Cang Nian screamed loudly. Now he can only crawl slowly with trembling limbs, and he can't run yet. He definitely can't outrun an adult fox. Now the only chance is to bet that Tiger Mom is nearby and his screams can call Tiger Mom back. A tender voice sounded. Cang Nian tried his best to cry, but it was still too young, and it was estimated that it could not be heard far, but he did not give up, and continued to cry loudly. Ah! Ding! Baby voice once, baby voice skill proficiency +1. 99/100. Ding! Baby voice once, baby voice skill proficiency +1. 100/100. Ding! Congratulations to the host, the baby voice skill proficiency has reached the maximum value, and the skill has evolved into baby cry. Then, Cang Nian's cry seemed to break through a thick barrier covering his throat, and suddenly became penetrating and extremely loud. Chapter 9 Life and Death Crisis. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Knowing that the fox was behind him, Cang Nian screamed loudly, trying to call the tiger mother back, and tried his best to escape. However, he has just learned to crawl now and cannot walk very steadily, let alone run. Therefore, after running for a few shaky steps, the old man fell to the ground with a thud. No. I have to distance myself from this guy, otherwise I will definitely die. That the old man did not stop after falling. His survival instinct made him crawl on his belly to the ground and crawl deeper into the cave. Ouch! But at this moment, Cang Nian, who was only focused on escaping, heard a shrill and milky cry coming from behind him. When he turned around, he saw that he had climbed to the edge of the pool deep in the cave, driven by adrenaline. But before he opened his eyes, Brother Tiger, who was in the center of the cave, didn't notice anything. He ran away to the waterhole, but exposed Brother Tiger to the fox. Moreover, maybe Brother Tiger was bigger and looked fatter, so the fox, whose eyes were turning green due to hunger, now shifted its target to Brother Tiger. It opened a short kiss and started biting at Brother Tiger. How could Brother Tiger, who had not yet opened his eyes, resist the mouth of an adult fox? He could only howl in fear. Seeing this scene, Cang Nian felt cold all over, and even his screams stopped abruptly. If this continues, Brother Tiger will die. Cang Nian subconsciously raised his paw and took a step forward, but it was hanging in mid-air. He has no means of attack now, and even his teeth are not straight. Whether it is attacking or biting, to the fox in front of him, it is just tickling. Even if he stepped forward, he would not be able to help Brother who get out of danger. On the contrary, he would also put himself in danger. Wait a little longer, Tiger Mother will come back, I just need to wait here, I still have a chance to survive. The fear of death made Cang Nian freeze in place and dared not move. He could only watch Brother Tiger being bitten by the fox. I'm sorry. I don't have the power. I can't save you. I'm sorry. Cang Nian watched this scene in agony and murmured guiltily in his heart, ouch. But at this moment, not far outside the cave, a soul-stirring tiger howl sounded, which cheered up the old man. It's a tiger mother. When hearing this tiger roar, the fox who was still biting the tiger brother suddenly became excited, and his eyes that were green with hunger suddenly became clear, and fear crept into his pupils. Without thinking, it quickly released its sharp teeth that bit the tiger brother and ran out of the cave. The queen of the jungle is back. If you don't run now, you're dead. Ouch! But the next second, a huge figure rushed into Cang Nian's field of vision. It was also black, white and orange, but it was far more majestic and domineering than the fox. It's a tiger mother. At this moment, Tiger Mother's eyes were full of anger. Her gentleness when facing Cang Nian and Tiger Brother was gone, only the surging violence. Snap! The Tiger Mother waved her paws heavily and accurately captured the fleeing fox from midair. Woo! The fox suddenly let out a miserable whimper, and then hit the cave wall hard. Cang Nian could see bright red blood splashing radially on the cave wall, like a ripe grape hitting the wall quickly. Immediately, the fox's shrill whimpering stopped abruptly, and its body slowly slid downwards, leaving a trail of blood. The tiger mother's terrifying power killed the fox with just one palm. Seeing this scene, Cang Nian's previous fear, guilt, and now the joy of surviving the disaster, all kinds of emotions surged up. These emotions made him, who had stayed up for more than 6 hours, and was extremely depressed, suddenly his vision went dark and he passed out. Well. I'm alive now. I don't know how long it took, but when the sun was shining brightly outside the cave, I slowly woke up, then, he turned his head and looked at the cave wall to the side. The dark red blood stains on it showed that yesterday's crisis was not a nightmare, but reality. Thinking of this, he quickly looked around and saw the slender and strong tiger mother lying in the cave and licking her fur gracefully, which made him feel safe. Yesterday's experience made him more dependent on Tiger Mother. Without the tiger mother, he would be helpless in the face of any crisis. He could do nothing but scream in fear. Even, I can only watch Brother Tiger being bitten by the fox. Wait. Where is Brother Tiger? Could it be? Thinking of this, Cang Nian stood up and stretched his neck to look for Brother Hu. But after looking around, he didn't see Tiger Brother, and his heart suddenly sank. Although Brother Tiger died in the mouth of the fox, even if he stepped forward to help, the outcome would not change in any way, but in the end, it was him who ran deep into the cave and exposed Brother Tiger to the fox. If he had grown up normally, he would be just like Brother Tiger now, unable to open his eyes and unable to crawl fast. He should be the one who died, right? Brother Tiger died for him. Cang Nian felt even more guilty. Woo. But at this moment, a milky sound came from the tiger mother's arms. Hearing the sound, Cang Nian perked up and hurriedly crawled towards Tiger Mother. Because he was so excited, Cang Nian even fell down, but he didn't care and quickly got up and crawled towards Tiger Mother. Finally, when she came to the Tiger Mother, she skillfully changed from lying down to lying on her side, making it easier for the old man to drink milk, and this change in action just exposed the Tiger Brother under the Tiger Mother's arms. Woo. Then, Cang Nian saw the Tiger Brother humming and crawling to the Tiger Mother's abdomen and drinking milk. Tiger Brother is not dead. That such a dramatic scene surprised Cang Nian, and he quickly moved to the Tiger Brother's side. Cang Nian scratched the Tiger Brother's neck with his claws and searched carefully. Finally, he found 2 rows of symmetrical holes on the left and right sides of the Tiger Brother's throat, which would not be seen if he was not looking for it specifically. The fox didn't bite the Tiger Brother to death. It shouldn't be. Such a result surprised Cang Nian. The adult fox bit the tiger cub that was less than a week old with all its strength. It would not be easy to kill it instantly, but it would not be difficult to kill it at least, but in the end, not only did the tiger brother not die, but it didn't seem to have any serious injuries. Is it not just me who is special? Is the tiger brother also an unusual little tiger cub? Cang Nian thought suspiciously. When this idea emerged, he realized that the tiger brother was indeed abnormal. It's too big. The 5-day-old tiger cub is twice as big as the one who has a system and is extremely self-disciplined, and is almost as big as the tiger cub who is more than a month old. Who cares, as long as tiger brother is not dead? Cang Nian shook his head and thought thankfully, if tiger brother really died, it would probably become a nightmare for his whole life, and he would live in guilt forever. Feeling Cang Nian pulling at him, tiger brother twisted his butt and moved to the other side, as if to give Cang Nian a place to drink milk. Looking at the naive tiger brother, Cang Nian's mouth corners slightly raised. This time I retreated because of weakness and timidity. Next time, I will work harder to hone myself. Next time, I will definitely be able to protect tiger brother. Chapter 10. Brother Tiger opened his eyes. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Who? On the 8th day after birth, and also the 3rd day after being attacked by the fox, Cang Nian crawled breathlessly. However, although he was very tired, the harvest was gratifying. Ding. Crawling 10m, crawling skill proficiency +1. 50 out of 100. In just 3 days, he has brushed the proficiency of the crawling skill to half. This is all due to the encounter 3 days ago, which made him feel more urgent to become stronger. Therefore, these days, he has been working hard to improve his most obvious crawling skill, and as the proficiency of the crawling skill increases, his limbs have gradually become stronger. Now he basically does not tremble when crawling, and he is steady. In addition, the other unlocked skills are also growing steadily. For example, the skill of drinking milk has accumulated enough proficiency yesterday and has undergone a qualitative change, but the name of the skill has not changed, but the volume of milk required for each level of proficiency has increased from 100 milliliters to 500 milliliters. However, this is not a big problem, because after the qualitative change of the milk drinking skill, Cang Nian's appetite has indeed been greatly improved. Now he can drink nearly 400 milliliters of milk at a time. In this way, when he brushes the proficiency of the milk drinking skill to about 50 levels, he can drink 500 milliliters of milk at a time, and the improvement of proficiency will not be much slower than before. The digestion skill has been improved synchronously with the milk drinking skill and has undergone a qualitative change. The change of this skill cannot be as intuitive as the qualitative change of the milk drinking skill, but Cang Nian can clearly feel that he is getting hungry faster. Before, he had to drink milk 8 times a day, but now he has to drink 12 times a day, and it seems that the digestion efficiency of the energy conversion in food is higher. Drinking the same volume of milk can now support a larger amount of exercise. What makes Cang Nian happy is that the improvement of milk drinking and digestion skills has driven the refresh efficiency of the proficiency of shitting and peeing skills. After all, the more you eat, the more you poop. Now Cang Nian's proficiency in the 2 skills of shitting and peeing has reached 80 levels synchronously, and it won't take long for them to be qualitatively changed. In addition, Cang Nian did not miss the skill of evolving from a baby voice to a baby cry. As long as his throat was well rested, he would cry with all his strength. Therefore, the skill of the baby cry has now reached level 30. The sleep skill, which has little presence, cannot be accelerated by hard work. It accumulates 1 level every 3 hours of sleep, and now it has only 32 levels. The same is true for the eye-opening skill, which also accumulates 1 level every 3 hours of opening the eyes. In addition, it was unlocked late, so now it has only 12 levels. However, the improvement of the eye-opening skill is quite obvious. Now Cang Nian can see clearly within a range of 15 meters. While exercising, Cang Nian summed up today's gains and walked towards Tiger Mom. He has been living like this these days. When he is tired of exercising, he drinks milk. When he is full of milk, he exercises. During the period, he cries and lets Tiger Mom help him excrete when he feels like it. It is a bit boring but also fulfilling. That at this moment, he suddenly saw a bright black flash. Then, he followed the reflection and saw Tiger Brother. After observing carefully for a while, Cang Nian finally knew the source of the reflection. It was the slits of Tiger Brother's eyes. Tiger Brother's eyes, which were originally tightly closed, opened 2 slits, and his moist eyes could be seen between the slits. Ah, not seeing this, Cang Nian shouted at Tiger Mother. Ding! Milky Roar once, Milky Roar skill proficiency +1. 31 out of 100. In order to brush up the skill proficiency, Cang Nian tried his best every time he roared, so he not only diverted Tiger Mother's attention, but also woke up Tiger Brother who was sleeping soundly. The awakened Tiger Brother hummed twice and twisted his buttocks. When Tiger Mother heard Cang Nian's roar, she came over to lick Cang Nian's buttocks. However, Cang Nian was prepared. He twisted his buttocks to avoid Tiger Mother, and then patted Tiger Brother's big face with his paws. During this time, Cang Nian finally confirmed that Tiger Brother was really abnormal. His drinking and digestion skills, which he had advanced once, were not a match for Tiger Brother. It was too greedy. Before he opened his eyes, Cang Nian could only vaguely feel that Tiger Brother could eat, but after he opened his eyes, he found that Tiger Brother was a real glutton. Less than 10 days after he was born, Cang Nian estimated that Tiger Brother would weigh about 5 or 6 kilograms, and he was eating so hard and consuming every day, so now he probably weighed only about 3 kilograms. This was almost the same as a normal 1-month-old tiger cub, but it was not enough in front of Tiger Brother. At this time, Tiger Mom followed Cang Nian's movements and looked at Tiger Brother, and finally found that Tiger Brother was about to open his eyes. Seeing this, Tiger Mom happily came to Tiger Brother, leaned over and lowered her head, and gently licked Tiger Brother's chubby little face with her big tongue. In Cang Nian's eyes, Tiger Brother's face was indeed big, but in Tiger Mom's eyes, Tiger Brother's face was extremely petite. Being licked on the little face by Tiger Mom, Tiger Brother hummed comfortably. After a while, the glue between the Tiger Brother's eyes was licked open, revealing wet and blank eyes, as if he had not woken up yet. However, he was indeed not awake. The sudden appearance of the strange perception method made the Tiger Brother's brain crash for several seconds, and then he looked at the Tiger Mother's whiskers, curiously wanting to catch them with his claws, but he had been difficult to move since he was born. As soon as he raised his front paws, his half-squatting hindquarters could not stabilize, so he fell to the ground with his legs spread out. Looking at the cute Tiger Brother, the Tiger Mother showed a human smile on her face and licked the hair on the Tiger Brother's belly lovingly. 3 days ago, when she went out hunting, a fox took the opportunity to sneak attack the nest, almost causing the Tiger Brother to get into trouble, which made the proud Tiger Mother feel lingering fear. Fortunately, her cub was lucky and had a long life, and there was no danger of life. Otherwise, she didn't know how sad she would be. This also made her determined to hunt quickly next time, and in order to reduce the time outside, she should drag the prey back to the nest to eat after the hunt is successful, instead of eating outside and then coming back. 3 days ago, it ambushed for a long time, and ate a lot on the spot after the hunt was successful. As a result, when it returned to the nest, it heard Cang Nian's terrified cry for help. However, it was that full meal at that time that allowed it to replenish enough nutrition, which was able to maintain the terrible consumption of Cang Nian and the Tiger Brother. With the help of the system, Cang Nian's growth rate exceeded that of ordinary tiger cubs, and the Tiger Brother is even more able to eat and sleep. The 2 brothers together, the Tiger Mother feels as difficult as feeding 8 cubs at the same time. Although this is the first litter for the Tiger Mother, she has no experience in feeding multiple cubs before. Thinking of this, the smile on the Tiger Mother's face turned into sorrow. It has only been 3 days since she last hunted and ate, and now she feels that the nutrition in her body can only feed the 2 brothers for 2 more days. The child can't eat, fearing that the child will be hungry and not grow. The child eats too much, and she has to worry about not having enough food at home. Worried,